y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Susan, I'm your hostess, and today we are going to be using the Amish canning cookbook, and we are going to can cranberry sauce, y'all. It's found on page 185 of this book, and this book can be bought on Amazon. And I am pulling out stuff out of my freezer, and I had two 12-ounce bags of frozen cranberries. Now, the recipe in the book calls for 8 cups of fresh cranberries. These bags hold 12 ounces, and they have a difference in the amount of water and the amount of sugar to add to it on the back of the package if you want to make fresh cranberry sauce. You can can it for long-term storage, and I'm going to can this, get it out of my freezer because I'm trying to get my freezers cleaned out. And so if 24 ounces is it's about 6 cups of cranberries. We're going to measure them out though. You would need two more cups to make the full recipe here. It would call for 4 cups of sugar, 4 cups of water, and 8 cups of fresh cranberries, and an optional ingredient would be grated zest of 1 orange. And I don't have orange, so I'm not going to add that. I might add a little bit of lemon juice to it, just to add a little more vitamin C. These are a good source of antioxidants and vitamin C. And you know, the holidays are quickly coming upon us, and there's nothing like fresh cranberry sauce that you made with your own hands. Now, this will have the hulls and the seeds in it. It's not going to be the strained version that you might be used to, and if you don't like the hulls and the seeds, you can strain it out yourself. So we're going to get this started, and I've already got my jars in the canner. Now, the recipe calls for pints. I'm going to use half pints because it's just me and my husband, and there's no sense of wasting product that we don't have to waste, although we do love our cranberry sauce. And the recipe is really easy. I've made it before. I've made it in large batches and served it at church events and stuff, and everybody loves it. So this is going to be a really easy and quick recipe for y'all. And we are starting with a clean kitchen, clean jars, and a clean canner, and we've got our jars covered with 1 inch of water, and I have got my lids also heating up on the back burner. I'm going to sterilize these jars for 10 minutes, and while they're sterilizing, I'm going to get everything else prepared. Okay, my jars are sterile, and I have turned my pot on medium heat, and I have got my water and my sugar measurements in my pot, and I am stirring it to make sure that it doesn't burn. And we want that sugar to dissolve. I'm going to give it a good stir here. And we're going to bring that to a good hard boil. Once it reaches the hard boil stage, I'll show you what it looks like. We're going to set a timer for 5 minutes at that point. Okay, my sugar's dissolved. I have turned my knob up to a medium high, and we're going to bring this to a hard boil. And I've also changed out my spoon so it won't make as much noise. And we're going to get this to a rolling boil, or what they call a hard boil. And it will happen rather quickly. I will adjust my heat if I need to. And I'm going to allow this to boil for 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to reduce my heat, and we're going to add in our cranberries. And we're going to bring this to a boil. There's a good one that's broken right there. Get my camera to adjust. You should see a few of them in here that are busting or bursting open. Yep, they're bursting. And that juice is going to turn a beautiful ruby red. All this good juice in there. Listen to them. They just are talking to y'all. We're going to get this going to a low boil. I have reduced my heat, and I'm going to set my timer for about 15 minutes. So we're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. And I'm going to continue to stir. And I'm starting to push them against the side of the pan to try to break up some of them. And they're frothing up nicely on top. All that juice is combining with the water and the sugar. And this would be very good with the orange zest added to it if I had it. We're going to allow that to continue to cook. And I'm just going in here with my potato masher, and I'm going to try to break up some of these berries that has not broken up yet. And it's starting to look like a jelly right at this point, or a jam. I'm just continuing to move it around and occasionally mash. And we still have about 8 minutes of boiling at this low boil. You can see some of the seeds are stuck to the side of the pan, those little bitty seeds. ladling. There it is in the pot. It's nice and thick, and here are my jars. I can move them back just a tad. And this is already starting to set up. And it said to fill it to a 1/4 inch headspace. And I forgot to put the citric acid in it, but that's all right. It doesn't call for it, so I'm not going to complain. And it looks like I'm going to get 5 half pints. Pull down another spoon so I can get into the crevices of this pan. I'm going to debubble. And I'm just going to check the headspace. That was a little bit shy. Alrighty. Getting it all over me, y'all. I did add a pinch of salt. Sometimes cranberries can be bitter, and that little bit of salt will take away the bitterness. And I'm cleaning the side of the jar too because I spilled some when I put the extra in. Double check my jars, make sure I've got the edges clean. Okay. Now I'm going to add my lids. And I did fill my canner up. My canner, this black canner back here holds 14.5 pints because I actually did not know how much product I was going to be able to get out of this. We're going to get our bands on. Make sure my lids are centered. These jars are very, very hot, y'all. And I'm going to finger tighten my bands. And it's a very light touch I do with these. I don't try to force them. You don't want to crank them down. You just want them finger tight. I got one more to tighten back there. I'm going to save that one. I'm going to get these lids back in my canner. The other jars are going to help me keep my water level up to where I want them to be. So I'm just going to get these jars back in my canner. And I got to finger tighten this one. Alrighty. And you want about an inch of water on top of them, so I'm going to take a little bit of my water that I have with these lids, and I'm going to just pour that back into the pot just to make sure I got enough water in there. And we're going to process. For half pints, we're processing these for 15 minutes for my altitude, which is 0 to 1,000 feet. If you're above that, 1,000 to 6,000 feet, it would be 20 minutes. And if you're above 6,000 feet to 8,000 feet, it would be 25 minutes. And that would be for pints and half pints. So we're going to get that processed, and we'll be back with the completed project. Okay, everybody, my timer is about to go off. I'm going to remove the lid, turn my burner off, remove the lid, and allow that to sit for 5 minutes before I take them out. Well, y'all, we have reached the end of our time. Our timer is about to go off. And I'm going to pull out my jars. We got 5 and a partial. I'll show you the partial in a minute. I want you to look at that beautiful color, y'all. It is just absolutely beautiful. Baby girl's wanting to come back in the house. I hear her over there barking at me. Okay, I got my 5 jars out. And there they are, folks. 5 half pints of cranberry sauce. And I have a little bit in the jar here. You can see the color is just beautiful. And we will add this to barbecue sauce or something. And I'm not going to let that go to waste. What you think? Leave me a comment.